Well, hey everybody, Jonathan Doyle with you once again for the Catholic Teacher Daily Message, a global daily message that goes out to encourage and resource and support all the incredible Catholic teachers, principals, bishops, catechists, priests around the world who are doing such remarkable work. Please make sure you've subscribed, hit those subscribe buttons. Check out the show notes as always, because there's links to my Going Deeper program. There's free stuff there. You can find out about how to book me to speak, so please go and do all of that. Today, we're going to go into a deep quote from Pope Benedict XVI, arguably one of the greatest theologians of the last millennia. I think when all is said and done, as the church looks back over the centuries, I think he'll be one of the absolute greats. So today, Pope Benedict has a beautiful quote from when he was here in Australia in 2008. I can't believe it was 2008. I remember being there. I remember speaking at multiple events here in Australia, in Sydney, and my gosh, time moves so quickly. I'm recording this in 2022, and it's amazing that World Youth Day was here just those few years ago. But it's a beautiful message from Pope Benedict XVI. Let's jump in. Let's hear what he wants to tell all of us as Catholic educators about the way that we are impacting young people. As you know, the task of a teacher is not simply to impart information or to provide training in skills intended to deliver some economic benefit to society. Education is not and must never be considered as purely utilitarian. It is about forming the human person, equipping him or her to live life to the full. In short, it is about imparting wisdom. As always, regular listeners know about my many rants. You could reduce most of what I say on this channel and these podcasts to a pretty simple view of reality. I believe, and have believed for many years, that what we need to avoid is the factory model of education. The factory model is you ship in a bunch of inputs, you group them in a cohort, you put them through a process of education, such as it is, and you output them at the other end as units that can then be inputted into a national economic system, right? So it's very much a factory model. It's like, we need employees, we need people to get jobs so that they can basically make a living and provide for themselves and others. So therefore we ship them in, we process them, we ship them out. Catholic education is a radically different proposition. Yes, at the end of Catholic education, we do want our young people to have practical, useful, marketable skills, because it is a good thing for them to go out into the social order, into the economic order, and to be able to provide for themselves and for those that they love. That's a good thing. But Catholic education is so vastly beyond that. When I think of the public education system, and I don't mean this pejoratively, I don't mean this as pure criticism, but the essential philosophical ethos of public education, as far as I can tell, cannot ever be anything other more than some form of humanism, which is we need to get these people to believe a certain set of parameters about what it means to be human and the purpose of being human, and then push them out into a system where they can be functional members of a society. The ultimate goal, as best I can tell in pure humanism, would be, please put in the comments if I'm wrong, but it's kind of as though we realize that if we don't socialize ourselves, that the human person is likely to do all sorts of terrible things to themselves and others over time. In terms of the base impulses of what it means to be human, is basically family, tribe, and survival. So I think humanism is probably a philosophical way, in terms of secular humanism, it's a way of basically going, how do we form people to function in the existing societal modality in a way that advances some concept of the common good without creating too much chaos and trauma and violence? If I'm wrong, I'd love you to put something in the comments on that. The Catholic educational proposition is radically different. Now, I could go for hours on this. I'm going to be very disciplined. I'm going to say The Catholic educational proposition begins from the point of Christ. Everything about being Catholic begins with Christ. Begins with Christ, it ends with Christ. If you're doing something Catholic that doesn't do that, it's probably not Catholic, because he's the Alpha, he's the Omega, he's the beginning and the end. He is the author of all things, and all things are for him and through him. So the Catholic educational proposition begins with our creation in the Imago Dei, in the image of God, and that we are caught up by baptism into the mystery of Christ. He wants to take all our natural abilities and capacities and elevate them into ways that bring about the kingdom of God and bring us home to the Father. So the Catholic educational proposition, I'm getting there, is basically young people are made in the image of God. They're precious. They have this incredible potential and destiny. They were created out of love by the Father. He wanted them to exist. And as much as he wanted them to exist, he wants one other thing. He wants them to come home. He wants them home to the Father's house. So the Catholic educational proposition has to be radically different, doesn't it, right? You can sense it immediately. Our proposition is God loved you into existence. You're precious and unrepeatable. There'll never be another you. God has a great purpose for your life. He wants you to know him. He wants you to be in relationship with his Son. He wants that relationship to bring about your flourishing and development in the paradigm of love, so you can love others, love God and others. So all of this takes me back to Benedict's quote, which is just his way of saying what we are doing is remarkably different. What we are doing is remarkably different. I'm currently homeschooling one of my kids, and it's only in this journey that I've had of working very closely with one of my own kids that you begin to see the power and beauty of education, educare, to draw out, to form my own child in wisdom, to see their individual abilities and capacities, and to shape them and to bless them and to resource into them. You just get to do it on a bigger scale. So I just want to say to you today, what you're doing is remarkable. It is nothing like the secular education project. It has not a lot in common with public education. And again, I'm not being overly unfairly critical of public education. You know, if people do not have a faith perspective, it is good that everybody can access important education. They can access, they can learn and grow and develop and become productive members of society. But I'm not here today to talk about public education. I'm talking about what I'm passionate about, which is the beauty and the wonder of Catholic education. And that's what you're doing every single day. I've got to stop because I go too long. Please make sure you're subscribed. Please go and check out the links because you can grab free access to my Going Deeper program. I'd love you to share this with people. But for now, realize that you are swept up in something really extraordinary, and God has you exactly where he wanted you to be. And even if you don't feel it, the work you are doing every day is making a profound difference. God bless you, everybody. My name is Jonathan Doyle. This has been the Catholic Teacher Daily Message, and I'll have another message for you tomorrow.